Our next guest is a world-renowned economist. She's also the author of 3 New York Times bestsellers, and she is the keynote speaker here at the PDAC, the world's largest mining conference. She joins me now. It's an honor to have Dr. Dambisa Moyo on.
It's to be here.
Thanks for being on, Dr. Moyo. At your recent talk at the Mining Indaba, I just want to bring up something you mentioned. You said that you believe the U.S. could see 3 interest rate hikes this year, and as we know, Fed Chair Yellen hinted at that last week. You also said that we could see the U.S. head into recession by 2018, the end of 2018. Why the conviction here?
So there are so many reasons to be quite bearish. In fact, I'm struggling to be bullish. Deep concerns around those 3 rate hikes that are priced into the market, 75 basis points. I think that could really actually cut off a lot of the growth and inflation expectations that a lot of people are hoping for that could drive the U.S. expectations higher. The U.S. print last year was 1.6% in GDP growth. It was the lowest since 2011. We've got massive debt, widening income inequality. We've got real concerns around technology and what the implications for a jobless underclass. These are real structural problems as well around demographic shifts, both in terms of the quality and quantity of the people coming on board. Of course, with all of those economic things against that backdrop is geopolitical risk, both in terms of the timing as well as the policies. There's just too much uncertainty in terms of the geopolitical environment. So I think on the whole, deeply concerned about what the structural implications might be for the global economy. And I know that there are people who are feeling a bit more euphoric right now. I mean, of course, what's happening in the stock market suggests that people are feeling that there might be some opportunity and some upside. But I think that on the balance, a lot of that is tactical, short-term sort of euphoria, whereas the structural challenges that I've just outlined to you have not been addressed.
I guess the counter-argument would be, well, what about the infrastructure spending that the new Trump administration speaks of, $1 trillion?
Yeah. Well, the history of infrastructure spending is very mixed. Japan spent $6.3 trillion in infrastructure, and it did not see an uptick in growth. So we need to see what that looks like. And of course, as you know also, there are many Republicans, particularly in Congress, that are very worried about a $1 trillion spend on the fiscal side. I have written extensively about how I think infrastructure is a critical piece of the economic growth story and could be actually positive. But I do think that the number that a lot of the Republicans are banding around is probably closer to 600 billion. 700 billion fiscal spend, and I think that against a rate hike environment where interest rates are going up, I think we could see net on balance a negative environment.
So Dr. Moyo, we are at the largest mining conference in the world.
Yes.
How does your view of the global economy impact the metals and mining space?
Well, I mean, because I'm on the board of Barrick, it's just sort of cheeky, but I am long gold. I do think that gold story has more to run. I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. And I do think that we are seeing a lot more interest, movement into the gold sector, and of course into cash as well, given the backdrop that I've just described for you. Very large funds such as PIMCO were out in force in the early part of the year, moving out of equities, obviously on the backdrop of some of the stuff that I've just explained to you. So very much constructive in terms of gold, much more sort of less sanguine, I should say, about other areas, because a lot of the other sectors, iron, copper, etc., are very heavily dependent on the aggregate growth story, aggregate demand story, and right now the forecasts for economic growth remain very weak.
Dr. Moyo, I know you're about to hit the stage, so what will be your main message to your audience today?
Well, I'm really focused on where the opportunities are in this type of a deglobalizing world where there's higher protectionism, much more concerns about a nationalistic vibe in terms of a geopolitical environment. So I'm really going to be focused on capital allocation being a key piece of the businesses that will survive, but also talking about the opportunity for some of the sectors in the mining sector, such as specifically gold.
Dr. Moyo, it was an honor to have you on. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching our coverage here from the PDAC in Toronto. We'll have much more for you, so be sure to stay tuned to Kitco.com. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Dr. Moyo. It was an honor.